Okay, here on Record Collector. With the pleasure of the company of the one and only David Essex. How are you?
I'm very well, nice to be with you.
It's nice to meet you, and you've got a tour coming up next year, once in a lifetime, with David Essex, the Osmonds, Showaddywaddy and this McKeown's Bay City Rollers. Is that a tour you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to it. Initially I was a bit reluctant because we've done it about 3 times. And I'm not very big on nostalgia, but it's a bit like a celebration of a generation. So I'm looking forward to that. Lots of things happening before that, because that's June next year.
Yes, it's June 24th. Yeah.
First thing is there's a brand new album out, which I'm really excited about because it's been 5 years since I've had an album out. There's been cast albums and musicals and all that, but this is called Reflections, and it's a mixture of newer songs, and I've had a look at some of the massive hits from the past and done them in a more acoustic way, taking a bit of care. So it took about 2.5 years to make. So there's Reflections out. There's also a film I finished last year called Traveller, which I did the soundtrack for. The soundtrack CD is coming out at the beginning of December with the film. And then in January I'm starting a play called The Dishwashers, which is about dishwashers, hence we're in this cat. It's a...
Well, I'm not paying the bill, so you might be doing some washing later.
It's a black comedy, very witty play, so that starts in Birmingham, does a small tour, and then probably the West End and New York. Obviously I'll come out of it to do the June tour, which once in a lifetime, the final one. Not my personal final one.
Yeah, I think we should make this clear. I think some fans are pretty worried. I think, oh my God, this is going to be the last David Essex tour, but you're still a young man, still fit and fit as a fiddle, and still ready to go.
There'll be more personal tours,
And let's talk about once in a lifetime, you know, because let's say there's the Osmonds, Basic Rollers and Showaddywaddy. And have your paths crossed before?
No, first time I ever met these people was on the tour. David Cassidy did one, I'd never met him, and it was lovely to meet them because you know people get the idea because we were making singles and hits in the 70s that we all sort of knew each other. I've never met any of them. Because you have a kind of nucleus of people you work with, musicians. You know, Chris Spedding, Jeff Way, Barry D'Souza, Herbie Flowers, all these people. So you kind of, in a way, you know, it's your own little group. Excuse me, I've got the other cough.
It's a rainy old day in London.
So it was nice to meet them. They're all nice guys, and as I say, it's good fun.
And I usually mention it, you know, some people do view it as nostalgia, but you're right in what you say, it is a celebration. And I think some people forget, especially younger generation today, they forget how many millions of records you sold in the 70s. You know, it's quite astonishing. I think even yourself, you had something like 19 top 40 UK singles and 2 number ones, you know. I think a lot of people, maybe they don't realise, but you wrote a lot of your own material, like Gonna Make You a Star.
Yes.
A song you wrote yourself.
I always felt more comfortable writing my own songs, I must say, because you know what you're talking about. And it's lovely to have written songs that are sort of in the social fabric, you know, you go past a building sign, you get a bit of Gonna Make You a Star or a bit of rock, it's quite special.
And the song Gonna Make You a Star, you wrote that quite early in your career, and did that have a different working title when you first wrote it? You know, 'cause it's quite a bold statement, you know, for a young artist.
Yeah, what it was about was I was very street cred. I was front page of the Enemy with That'll Be the Day, Rock On. And then I started to get all these hits. So then of course people like that, you know, drop me. So that's really what that song's about. Is it more than, any more than a pretty face? I don't think so.
Yeah. Great line.
I better get some water.
Hey, you've got some water. And another song, number 1 hit single, was Hold Me Close, which is a great little song. And
yeah, I wrote that in Los Angeles. I remember playing that to Kenny Jones of the Small Faces and then The Who. And he said, oh, that's terrific. I said, number 1. I said, what is it? I just thought it was a catchy little song. It came out, it was a very big song. Thank you.
And I believe there's like there's an Irish football team, Shamrock Rovers, so they sort of use it on the terraces.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. All right, yeah.
I'd have to get a recording.
Exactly.
Lovely.
I thought you might know that with the Irish background. And tell us more, you have done this new album, Reflections, and I believe you've just done a single from it, which is Lamplight, which is originally your second single.
Yeah, Lamplight, brand new version, very sort of New Orleans jazz version I've done of it. There's another single coming out called Picture This Sky very soon. And it's just nice to be, have records in the shops and on Amazon and all the rest of the things they do, because it's not happened for quite a while.
And what's the fans' reaction been? Because some fans always find it sacrilege when you change a record around, because they know that song for 40 years, it's embedded in their minds, and they hear a new version. And so what's the fans' reaction been?
The reaction's been tremendous, and I was aware of that. That's why the album took so long, 2.5 years to make sure that the new versions were a statement, and they give a nod to the big hit versions, but they're also different, and I think they work very well. There was one thing that I was very aware of, not just to do a new version for the sake of it, to actually think it through, think where the song could go. For instance, with Lamplight, as I say, it's kind of a New Orleans Dr. John filter. Going to make you a star, it's more rhythmic. Rock On is tremendous because it's an upright bass instead of Herbie Flowers on the electric bass, very atmospheric. And If I Could is very sweet, they're the new ones we've done.
Have you been tempted to change the lyrics to any of those songs?
Not really, no. I think that's a bridge too far.
And talking of Rock On, quite a few artists have covered it over the years, and I think more recently Def Leppard did a version in 2006. They did a compilation album called Yeah, and they actually play that song every night on tour. And so I was wondering, did they invite you along to check out their version?
No,
that's surprising.
I hadn't heard that one. I heard one by Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But the thing is, you've got to be careful with a song like that because you can overcook it. The strength of it is the space and the quality of sound. That's what the strength is. And I think we've retained that with the new version on Reflections. It's easy to go down, 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 but it's not really what the song's about. The song it's got like a sort of sub-sonic thing going with it.
Actually, Def Leppard did stay quite close to the original, actually.
Is it? I'd like to hear that.
Yeah. And also, like the 70s, you used to be in the top 10, you was number one pin-up everywhere, and young girls had your picture on the walls, and you're such a busy man, and you also made two films, That Would Be the Day and Stardust, which I think are such iconic films, like the first sort of pop culture films where you also expressed the seedier side of the music business.
Yeah, I mean, Stardust was tricky to make, That Would Be the Day was fun. I'd signed a 2-film contract with David Putnam, so I couldn't get out the second one. Ringo got out of it because it was a bit of an identity crisis going on fundamentally, because I was fictionalising things that were happening in a very factual way in my career. The American management wanted to come in and all these different things. So it was a tricky film to make, but highly thought of as a real sort of rock document of those times.
Well, so it was very much a first. Any of those stories sort of based on anyone we know? Can you give any stories away now?
Well, not really. I think it's loosely a conglomerate of John Lennon and a few other sort of people. I don't one in specific. I mean, Jim McKeown was the character I played in both films. The script was written by Ray Connolly. Of course, Ray Connolly was the reporter on the Liverpool Echo when the Beatles broke, so he knew them quite well. So I suppose if it's near anything, it's near the Beatles, I think.
And how about yourself? Obviously, once again, you hit at the height, and then the hits, I wouldn't say they dried up, but they weren't as successful. And did life imitate art for yourself? Do you see any comparisons to yourself to Jim McLennan in the film Stardust later on?
Well, at the time there was a lot of similarities. It was a bit of an identity crisis because you'd be fictionalising a scene and walk into it in real life. But I think what was useful for me was the fact that I spent a lot of time starving in back of Bedford dormitory in blues bands. I had a spell in preparatory where you play to 5-minute-old ladies at the end of the pier. So when I became an overnight success with Godspell, Rock On #1 in America, That Would Be the Day, the film to see, I had that background to draw upon.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's always been for me, the priority and the focus has always been the work I'm doing, not the fame and fortune. It's nice that it's happened to me because it gives me great freedom, but it's never been a reason. And I think if it is a reason, it's a kind of empty reason to follow. I feel very, very grateful that I do seem to be able to work in different mediums, from music, theatre, film, television, as a writer, producer, director. I can even tap dance.
So Roy Castle's not around anymore.
So that's kind of that's kept me interested, and it seems that other people have kept interested over it's more than 40 years.
Exactly. And so the hits did continue at 80, like Silver Dream Machine, and the film as well, and single. But there's one single in 82, Winter's Tale, which was written by Mike Batt and Tim Rice, and I believe it was like your idea. You went to them that song.
Yeah,
that song's sort of taken a life of its own, hasn't it? Now?
When it sort of turns up every Christmas, doesn't it? And which is ironic because it's not really a Christmas song.
That's right, yeah.
It's about the changes of the season and the juxtaposition of the changes of a relationship. When it's spring, it's summer, and sadly sometimes it's autumn and winter. So that's what the song's about. But yeah, it does sort of come on in the supermarket as you're shopping around Christmas time, that's for sure.
I say it's a song that will keep on going for years and years and years. And I say we could talk about this Once in a Lifetime tour again, and it's in June 2014. I know you're a massive football fan, of course. June 2014, there's a little competition going on in Brazil, the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah,
so we have a little TV screen on the stage.
I did, to be honest, I did do one tour where I had a TV monitor. This was a European thing. I had a TV monitor by the wedges, and I think that's a little bit disrespectful. I won't be doing that. I'll just be checking on it.
Yeah. And I know you're a massive West Ham fan, and obviously England won the World Cup in 1966. As one of my fellow West Ham fans sitting over there always tells me that half the squad was West Ham players, and I'm sure you could tell me where they were, Bobby Moore and Jeff Hurst.
That's Mike Peters, yeah.
And I calculated you was 19 years old when England won the World Cup, so where was you on the day? Did you watch it?
I was sitting with my mum and dad, and I was sitting in our little council flat cheering. And I don't forget it. It was a brilliant time because, as you say, there were a lot of those players at the local boys to where I grew up, and to see Jeff Hurst score those, the hat trick.
And what did you do in ways of celebration that night?
I don't know what we did. I can't remember that. But I know we were all very happy.
And talking of people being happy, let's talk about your fans, because obviously female fans totally adored you in the 70s, and I was on YouTube last night looking at a few of your clips, and they still do. They're still leaving all these wonderful statements and still sexy man and everything else. So what's your secret?
Probably having no secret and not even being aware of that. Maybe that. If I was, if that was my thing, maybe I wouldn't get that kind of interest. But I'm an actual scruff, as you can see. My music and my theatre and drama and all that's what I care about. It's nice to have people, relate to what you do. But the sexy man thing is a little bit silly, I think.
So you had any bizarre times you've been in a hotel somewhere and you opened the door and you've been greeted by like an intruder?
Yeah, I've had all sorts of people coming out of wardrobes, being sort of dumped in the back of a police Land Rover to get me out of the middle, all kinds of. It's like being in the SAS. But all good fun. It's only happened to a handful of people. I probably wish I was a bit more comfortable with it, but I've always been a family man. I've always, my focus has been on work.
Good. And just you mentioned just now, like you've done everything, acting, even tap dancing. And what gives you the most pleasure?
All of it, really. When I see people that are moved by things I've done or relate to what I've done, I think that's what I'm grateful about.
And have you got any unfulfilled ambitions?
Not really. I probably, I didn't take America seriously when Mark got was high in the charts there. never went there. So
You played on a midnight special, didn't you? Like TV show.
yeah, I did a couple of things.
Yeah,
but
we're
then,
not tour.
obviously Columbia Records wanted me to do a tour and all the rest of it. But my family was in England. I didn't want to go over there. I've been asked quite a lot of times to go and live in Hollywood, and it's not really my cup of tea. I mean, I've just finished another film which comes out next year, so you've got the Traveller film out this year, December, and then you've got Meet the Governors coming out next year, and that's about gang-rape warfare between two generations, which I instigate. So, you know, that's more my cup of tea than Hollywood.
And let's talk about the Traveller, because like it's close to your family roots, you know, like you're from Irish background, and they were travellers originally. So
yeah, it's a film about my boy Billy plays the lead, Billy Cook. He's tremendous in it, and it's about his character Owen McKeown, who is half gypsy, half non-gypsy, and his search for identity and acceptance really with the traveller community. We shot it on a traveller site. It's a very positive spin, I think, on English gypsies, which is a change. And it gives you an insight into their way of life and their thinking. And I've done the soundtrack for that. I use the sort of Celtic motif because his father was Irish, but was killed by the police. He's in the UK. So I enjoyed doing the soundtrack. I haven't done one for a while. The last one I did was Silver Green Racing. That was a big hit album, so we'll see what happens.
you sort of mentions like the gypsy community does get a sort of a negative press, and why is that exactly?
Well, because it's a lack of understanding in a way, and it's a lack of... See, I was patron of the Gypsy Council for a while, and what I thought was good about that is people that don't travel and people that do travel, they can talk. Because if there's alienation, then all these strange ideas come. You know, there's good and bad in all communities.
Yes, we say, yeah.
But my old mum always said a land without gypsies is a land without freedom.
That's very true. We leave that note from good old mum.
Yeah.
David, it's been fantastic talking to you, and we'll tour next June 2014 with the Osmonds, Showaddywaddy and Les McKeown's Basic Rollers. You're playing Manchester, Leeds, Cardiff, Newcastle, Liverpool, London O2, Birmingham and Brighton, and I look forward to it. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. All the best.
Bye-bye.